Hello again. I assume that if you're watching this video, it's because you didn't do so well on the second part of this last test, which is part 1BC. And this is the part that would replace your grade for quiz BC, quiz 1BC, the second quiz that we took. Okay, so here we want to find the equation of the perpendicular bisector. So the perpendicular bisector goes through the midpoint. So we've got a point there, and the midpoint, there's the calculation above, that was in the last section. The midpoint is 6, 1. So bisector tells us we go through the midpoint. There's a point. Perpendicular should tell us the slope of our line. Now it's perpendicular to what? Well, it's perpendicular to AC. What was the slope of AC? Let me look above. The slope of AC was -5. So I want not the same slope. I want to flip that upside down, which would be -1/5. But then I want to change the sign. That's the negative reciprocal. So -5 is going to flip and change signs. That'll make it a positive 1/5. So there's a point. There's the slope. And hey, look, I'm using point-slope form. That's convenient. So I have both of those pieces of information. That means I'm ready to write this out. So I'm going to do y minus the y value, which is 1, equals the slope, m, times x minus the x value, x minus 6. That is the equation of perpendicular bisector. Now, I'm going to change this to slope-intercept form. So, again, I'm not starting over. I'm just using the equation that I already have, and I'm rearranging it so that it's in slope-intercept form. Or in other words, I'm going to solve it for y, so that it's in y equals mx plus b form. I just need to solve for y. I'm rearranging. So I'm going to start here, and the first thing I might do is add 1 to both. No, don't do that first. First thing I might do is distribute. So I'm going to distribute that 1/5. That's going to give me y minus 1 equals 1/5 x minus 6/5. Remember, multiply the 6 on the top of the fraction. Okay, so you might notice I'm just working straight from the answer above. That's really all we need to do here. Don't try and figure out b on your own. So again, to get y by itself, we need to add 1. So move that 1 over, plus 1, plus 1. And somewhere off in my head, I need to figure out what's -6/5 plus 1. And to aid me, I might write 1 as a fraction. Say 1 over 1. That's 1, right? But to add those two fractions, I have to give them a common denominator. 5 would be a good choice here, so I'm going to multiply the right-hand side by 5 over 5, which is altogether just 5 over 5. So how many fifths is that? So my denominator is going to stay the same, so it's going to be something over 5. And then I add the top numbers together. So that's -6. 5 times 1 is 5. When I add those, I get -1. So I'm going to put a minus in front. So it's -1/5. According to my calculations, that should be the equation of this line in slope-intercept form. Same equation, just rearranged. Now to put this into standard form, not general, I need to rearrange it again. So I'm not starting over. I'm taking the equation that I already have, and I'm rearranging it. You might remember in standard form, that's this one, the a, the b, and the c should all be integers. So not fractions, in other words. To make those not fractions, I need to get rid of all these fractions. What would cancel out with each of these denominators? They're both a 5, so the least common denominator would be 5. So what I'm going to do is multiply both sides of the equation by 5. I'm not changing the equation, I'm just rewriting it in a convenient form. So that would be 5y on the left, and then on the right, I'm going to distribute. The 5 is going to cancel out with the 1/5 in each of these cases, so it's going to leave me x. And here, this term doesn't just go away, it's not 0, but it would be 5 divided by 5, which is 1. Now I'm almost there. Next step, I need to move the x onto the left-hand side. So I would subtract x. That's going to give me negative x plus 5y equals negative 1. And then I want to change all the signs so that I have a positive a value. So last thing I'm going to do, multiply through by a negative 1. That'll make it a positive x minus 5y equals positive 1. That is standard form. Now let's plot this line on the graph. So I know that it goes through this point right here. I also know what its slope is. We said its slope was a positive 1/5, the slope of that perpendicular line. So that's the way I'm going to plot it. I'm going to start from this point, and I'm going to go, let's say, so if it's 1/5, that would be up 1 and over 5. Now that goes a little bit off my graph. Now I could do the opposite of that too. I could also go down 1 and backwards 5. So what if I did that? Down 1 and back 5. That gives me another point in the same line. Now I want to connect those points. Okay. There's my line. Does it look like it has the same y-intercept that we found below? So we know it should have a y-intercept of negative 1/5. Let's look at the graph. Does it look like it crosses the y-axis at about negative 1/5? I'm going to say yes. We also know this line should be perpendicular. Does it look like it makes a right angle? Again, I'm going to say yes. So I'm going to feel pretty good about my answer. That's why I had the graph. So if you get some line that looks like this or looks like this, it's probably not the perpendicular bisector. You might want to look at what you did again. I'm going to put a check mark here. I did that. Okay, number 10. This time I want to find a line that is parallel. So remember, parallel is telling us the slope. So I'm going to put M for slope and then little parallel lines. Parallel to AC, and it passes through the point B. So again, we're going to have a slope, and we're going to have some points. So which equation form should we probably use? Probably point slope. So it's parallel to AC. It's going to have the same slope as AC, which, if I look above, is negative 5. And then it goes through point B. So let's use the coordinates of point B. That was negative 6, 1. Now all I have to do is write out point slope form. So that's y minus the y value, which would be 1, equals m, which is the slope, times x minus the x value, which is negative 6. So we've got a minus and negative 6. I'm going to go ahead and rewrite that. It's not completely necessary, but it looks better as a plus 6. Okay, that's it. It doesn't say what form to put it in, so we're going to use the most convenient one, which happens to be point slope. And it is the most convenient because we're given a point and we're given the slope. It's that easy.